Hi and welcome to TV Box Top. Today I have another new TV box called the S9 Max sold on AliExpress.com provided by the Sunnzo store. This is another Amlogic S905X3 model and this one runs on 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. There's also a 32GB model and a 16GB model. This one is a new release and is currently being sold at $43 for the 64GB model, $39 for the 32GB and $31 for the 16GB. You also need to be mindful that there's a similar model running on the Rockchip RK3318 CPU, so don't get confused and purchase the wrong model. Up next, I have my full review and live demonstrations, so stay tuned. I'll be right back after this. Welcome back. In the box, you have your standard TV box contents. You have the device itself, one IR remote, one HDMI cable, a 5V 2 amps DC power adapter, and a user's manual. And now a look at its design and ports. The body is made entirely of plastic with the S9 Max branding printed to the top. To the rear of the box, you have one HDMI 2.1 port, one RJ45 Ethernet LAN port, one optical SPDIF audio port, one AV port, and the DC power input. To the left side, you have one USB 3.0 port, one USB 2.0, and a micro SD TF card reader. To the opposite side is blank. At the front you have an LED display, and below the box you have 4 rubber feet and some ventilation holes. So I'll now take a minute to set this up on my TV and the capture card and continue. So I'm back, and the boot up process includes a motion video followed by an S9 Max splash screen. Then you're taken to the launcher. The motion video adds a bit of delay to the boot up process, taking it approximately 44 seconds to complete. So this is its launcher. And we have seen this one before, used in models such as the X96 Max Plus. It's made up of these horizontal scrolling panels where you can rearrange the shortcuts if you so choose. You have a shortcuts bar to the top along with a voice search bar. Below here, you have the settings button, network and apps button. This launcher does not include a navigation bar or status bar, so in just a moment I'll attempt to install an alternative and see if it works. In the app section, these are the apps that come pre-installed, and as you can see, they have included quite a lot of bloatware apps, some of which may not apply to your region. The good news is, all the apps that you don't need can be uninstalled, freeing up some storage space. So I'll remove some of those that I don't need and install some additional ones and continue. Before I proceed, I would like to bring something to your attention. There's a situation that I've been experiencing in some of the new models where when you attempt to log into your Google account, the app crashes. I discovered that the Google Play Store and Google Play services needs updating, but the auto update feature on these boxes are not working, which means you have to update them manually without logging into your Google account. That might sound tricky, but there's an easy way to do it for this box by simply performing a manual OTA update. What you do is download the firmware in OTA zip format to a pen drive, connect it to the box, open the Updates app, select the firmware zip file and click Update and allow the process to complete. A link to this firmware can be found in the description below this video. So I've completed the firmware update and successfully installed all my apps from the Google Play Store and a few others that I had to sideload from Aptoide and APK Pure. If you look below here, I installed the menu button alternative navigation bar and it's fully functional, allowing you to navigate and multitask with mouse pointers. If you would like to learn how to install and set this up, see the link to my video tutorial in the description below this video. As I proceed, let's have a look at its system and hardware information. The manufacturer is Droid Logic, and this model runs on 4GB of DDR3 RAM and 64GB of internal storage, from which this is the remainder after the Android installation and all the apps I've installed. The Bluetooth version is 4.0 according to the product description. The CPU, which is the Amlogic S905X3, is a quad-core Cortex A55 CPU clocked at 1.9 GHz configured in 32-bit mode, with support for only 32-bit ABIs, which limits it to only 32-bit applications. The GPU is the Mali G31 with a refresh rate of 60 Hz and OpenGL ES version 3.2. Under network, it shows that you have dual-band 5 GHz Wi-Fi support. The operating system is Android 9 Pie and the box is rooted. The operating temperature is between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius and even higher under 3D gaming. Under codecs, you have all your standard decoders for the playback of 4K videos in HDR format, and you also have DTS and Dolby decoders for the playback of digital surround sound audio. And that's it for system and hardware information. Let's now have a look at some benchmarks. First, its RAM copy and internal storage read and write speeds. The S9 Max has a RAM copy speed of 3276 MB per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 146 MB per second and a write speed of 92. These scores, though consistent, are very encouraging when compared to similar models. Next, I have the results of its Wi-Fi bands and its Ethernet LAN speed tests. And the results show that the S9 Max achieved 100% of my bandwidth on both Wi-Fi bands and on its gigabit LAN port, making it one of the few models in its class to achieve this level of connectivity and data transfer. Next, I have the results of the Antutu benchmark. The results show that the S9 Max got a score of 78,900. This score is surprisingly high compared to similar models in its class and should be quite interesting to see where it places on the chart. In the Geekbench 4 CPU benchmark, it scored 806 single-core and 2,288 multicore. Again, these scores are slightly higher than what you would get from a typical Amlogic S905X3 TV box. In the graphics benchmark, it shows that the S9 Max does not have Vulkan support, and it scored 5,634 in the Ice Storm Extreme test and 528 in the Slingshot test. These are some good scores and should see to it that it performs well in some 3D gaming. And that's the last of the benchmarks. I will now enter the scores on my rankings chart and let's see how it places. After entering the scores on the rankings chart, the S9 Max is at position 16 in reference to Antutu benchmark scores, which at the time of making this video is the third highest among S905X3 models. This chart is available on my blog in full spreadsheet format where you can view the top TV boxes along with price comparison links. I placed a link in the description below this video. As I proceed, let's have a look at its root and DRM information. The root checker app shows that the S9 Max is rooted running on Android 9 operating system. This is great news for apps that require your box to be rooted. However, apps that require your box not to be rooted will not work. Also, it does not have a root switch, and trying to update the Super User app will only result in breaking the box or putting it into a permanent boot loop that can only be fixed by flashing the firmware. Its DRM information shows that it has Google Widevine Level 3 with no HDCP protection, which means premium streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime Video will only show in basic quality due to the lack of Google certification and piracy protection. If I open Netflix, here you can see that the interface itself is in low resolution and you cannot navigate its hamburger menu with the stock remote. So if you intend to use Netflix, it's best you use a wireless air mouse. If I open a movie description, here you can see that it has no HD or HDR icon that you would usually see if you have a premium 4K account. It requires wideband level 1 plus HDCP 2.2 protection to achieve this. The box comes pre-installed with the Android TV version of YouTube. This version plays videos in 4K quality, however, it does not produce HDR display. I don't know what's the difference between the version from the Aptoid App Store and these other versions and why they don't trigger the HDR icon on my TV. So I uninstalled this version and installed the one from the Aptoid App Store, and when I played this 4K HDR video, it triggered the HDR icon as expected. The box comes pre-installed with the official version of Miracast, and here I'm casting my mobile phone with very little latency. For those interested in alternative launchers and live wallpapers, here I installed the ADW Launcher 2 along with the Bastion 7 live wallpaper, and it works with all features such as long click menu pop-ups and drag and drop shortcuts. For those interested in digital signage and would like to rotate the screen to portrait mode, that feature does not work on this box. I will now play some 4K videos in HDR format using the VLC player.
Only a win for Barca would be enough, because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head goal difference is what counts in the case of a tie on points. The mosaic. Sanchez, awesome strike. I don't think Courtois even saw it. The angle was negligible. This could be his last ever game in the blue and red shirt. What an awesome goal from Alexis Sanchez. Unstoppable.
Alexis much maligned.
And only a...
All the videos played okay and the HDR icon was triggered on my LG TV. I will now play some videos in digital surround sound audio formats such as Dolby Atmos and DTS audio, and let's see how many formats it can produce.
This is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic audio. With powerful moving audio that transcends from channels to moving around you with pinpoint accuracy.
Executioners, judges.
Welcome to the inside of your head. over.
So this test revealed that in similar fashion to other models in its class, it can output Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, HD Master Audio, and THX. However, it did not produce Dolby True HD. I'll now play some Android games and test for graphics rendering, gamepad key mapping, and for overheating.
Lost the lead.
Down. Target's inside.
It's too close. Fight harder. We've taken the lead. Taking the lead.
Enemy down. Contact with enemy. Tango down.
The games played okay with the gamepad key mapping capability. However, I noticed that the graphics rendering was not of a very high quality and there was some borderline overheating that required a cooling fan. In summary, the Sunnzo S9 Max is a good high-performance TV box ideal for streaming movies and TV shows, 4K video playback, some Android gaming, and other everyday activities. Its Wi-Fi reception is excellent as well as its Ethernet LAN speed. It has some of the highest benchmarks in its class and the price is suited to the performance and hardware you get in this box. Areas of interest that would be of concern to some users are the lack of a built-in navigation bar and status bar, no root switch, the inability to navigate APKs with the stock remote, and the borderline hidden issues if you intend to play Android games. In the end, this is a great TV box for the price, and if you would like to get your hands on the exact model featured in this video, see the link in the description or on my blog for the only place you can find it online. Give this video the thumbs up if you enjoyed my presentation, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell to be notified when I release new videos or decide to do a giveaway. If you would like to contribute to this channel via cryptocurrency, see the various receiving addresses in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.